And a very pleasant good evening, and welcome to this edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado athletics. Have another exciting show on tap for you this evening, and going to talk a lot of softball and baseball before the night is done. But before we get started, do want to thank our sponsors of Brevard College Tornado athletics. Really appreciate their ongoing support of the Tornadoes. Arby's, Brevard Orthopedics, BSN Sports, eGolf Ford of Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Jets Pizza, Pepsi, Salsaritas, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. Appreciate their support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Well, I do want to catch you up since we saw you last. We didn't have a show last week due to President's Day, but a lot has happened between our last show and this evening, and do want to take you through some of those highlights. Women's basketball hit the postseason. A huge win over Maryville in the first round at an electric Boshemer Gymnasium. First ever postseason win in the NCAA era for Brevard College women's basketball. They headed to the quarterfinals at Berea. Second straight year that the Tornadoes appeared in the USA South Conference tournament. Congratulations to them. And some awards were handed out from the USA South Conference. Graduate forward Destiny Williams, first team West Division, and Avery Lockwood, the senior center, earning a spot on the all-sportsmanship team. So congratulations to head coach Donald Hudson, assistant coach Annalie Bollinger, and the women's basketball program. Men's basketball also headed to the postseason, its first trip since 2014 and 15, heading to a USA South Conference matchup at Covenant. Tornadoes were able to make that appearance and show up strong towards the end of that season. Congratulations to Coach Lee Burgess and also Associate Head Coach Miles Leathers. A couple of awards handed out to men's basketball players. L.B. Boyette, second team West Division, and Hayden Castle named to the all-sportsmanship team for men's basketball. Men's lacrosse has opened its season. It had a tough season opener, 6-4 loss to Ferrum, the debut of this year's men's lacrosse program at Islamel Family Field. Coming off that one, however, some individual accolades handed out to Devin McCarriger. He was named Defensive Player of the Week, the goalkeeper for the Tornadoes. A 10-4 loss to Oglethorpe in the second game of the season. But next up for the Tornadoes, March 11th at 1 p.m. Islamel Family Field, the Tornadoes will host its next game versus Husson College. Women's lacrosse started its season since we saw you last as well. A 21-3 win in the season opener over Sweetbriar. Coming off of that one, a couple of individual accolades as well. Casey Collins, Women's Lacrosse Player of the Week. Lexi McLaughlin, the goalkeeper for the Tornadoes, the freshman, Defensive Player of the Week. And then following a loss to Alma in Game 2 of the season, the Tornadoes with a big road win this weekend, 20-15 over Randolph. And then some breaking news this afternoon coming off that performance. Emily Denega, the freshman, has won USA South Conference Rookie of the Week. That was announced just earlier today. Next up for women's lacrosse, BC versus Lake Forest. That's 12 p.m., 12 noon this Sunday at Islamel Family Field. Men's and women's tennis had its season opener and then had a rainout this past weekend, which was unfortunate. But they'll be right back in action this weekend, starting a series of several matches beginning Friday, March the 4th, running through Tuesday, March the 8th, when the men's and women's tennis teams head to Hilton Head Island. Baseball, it won a series versus Washington and Lee since we saw you last, the third straight series win to open up the year. Matthew Scavato with the USA South Pitcher of the Week performance in that one. And then baseball, after dropping a couple games on a doubleheader on Saturday, with authority, 20-2 win over Greensboro on Sunday. Next up for the Tornadoes, 3 games this weekend versus Averett, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Doubleheader on Saturday starts at noon. Game 3 of the series on Sunday starts at 1. Hope you can catch us out there at Gil Cone Field. That brings us to softball, and Some news coming off that season opening win that we talked about a couple weeks ago versus Carolina University, an individual accolade, Rookie Pitcher of the Week, Abby Delp. She'll be a guest later in the show. She was named USA South Conference Rookie Pitcher of the Week for the week ending February the 15th. And that very day, that afternoon, we were back in action at the BC softball field, a 4-3 win over Pfeiffer. That included a big walk-off performance there, an exciting win that we're going to talk a lot about later in the show. This past weekend, a 4-3 win over USC Sumter in an exhibition. And then the Tornadoes back in action versus Pikeville on Monday, March the 7th, beginning at noon at the BC softball field. And with that, we are going to now talk even more softball as we invite into the program head coach Bree Shearin. Coach Shearin, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me, Phil. It's always a pleasure.
Well, most definitely. We've got a lot to catch up with you on since we saw you last, and would like to date back to that game I just referenced, February the 15th, taking on the top team as far as the preseason procrastinator, the predictors of the preseason poll, the coaches poll, had Pfeiffer number 1 in the East Division. The Tornadoes, meanwhile, defeat them 4-3 in walk-off fashion. Can you reflect back on that big win?
That day, was just electric for us. Like, we came into that game thinking it was the World Series, and we played like it. I told them at the beginning of the year that I loaded us up on the season for some hard games, and they really got tested, and they came out on top. I can't say enough good things about that game. Savannah Jones with the walk-off, Caitlin Farmer pitched lights out in that game. You can't ask for anything better from a player than what Caitlin Farmer did that day. And every single out was huge, and everybody in the ballpark felt it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you mentioned everybody in the ballpark. And between the first couple doubleheaders that we've had there at the BC softball field, you can feel the excitement around campus continuing to grow for softball, and it's becoming a big attraction. How much does the crowd play into things, especially with an exciting win like that one over Pfeiffer?
NATO Nation is huge for us. And we talk about that. And that's part of our struggle that we're working through right now. It's not always sunshine and rainbows in sports. You're going to lose some games, and our road games are hard for us because we don't have NATO Nation behind us. And so that's something that we're working on throughout the week and just talking about going into some away games. But the intensity that you feel out there is unmatched. I can't even explain it. You have to come to a game to understand. And Phil, we've talked about this, but it's a different kind of feeling when you're at home and you have Brevard College behind you. And the girls feel that, and they feel the intensity, and they're excited. And it doesn't matter who we're playing at home. Like, we know that we're going to compete, and we're going to do well when we play at home.
Now, following that matchup versus Pfeiffer, there was actually a little bit of off time for the program. And, you did have some action this past weekend in exhibition play down in South Carolina versus USC Sumter. Can you kind of take us through that period, of February where, you didn't necessarily have games to play on the schedule, but you were able to stay active?
Yeah. So we had to prep in a little bit of a different way going into that exhibition game. We have some really good programs on the schedule, like we keep saying, and that was one of them. USC Sumter is a good team. And they're actually my best friend's team. So we had a little bit more of a friendly competition going on there. So both teams wanted to play well because our coaches, I used to live with the coach at USC Sumter. So that was really fun for my girls to see that and see my, emotional connection to them in that way. So they showed up for me, and they did well. We definitely found some cracks that we need to work through. But as far as the prep goes, we look at who we're playing on the weekend, and we try and prep for that. So, we went through a little bit slower pace of things with the pitching coming off of Pfeiffer, who's number 1 in the East, like you said. And they throw the ball really hard. They have number 15 for them pitch the first game, and we ended up beating her, but she throws the ball hard. And we knew going off of that, coming into USC Sumter, who's a junior college, that we were going to have to prepare. And so we talked about it and went through things, and that's a hard adjustment in our game. The speed differences is hard to handle. So I think that they did it. I think they handled it very well. but some people struggled, and sometimes you need that to see where you need to grow. So I think it was all positive for us.
Very good. And then spring break is right around the corner for the entire student body here at Brevard College, but the softball team is going to be very busy with a string of games starting up on Monday, March the 7th at the BC softball field. Home matchup there. Another one on Wednesday versus Greensboro, then a trip to Georgia to take on Reinhardt, then back at home versus Converse. A lot of games in a short amount of time. But plus, I know, spring break, the opportunity for some team bonding and, for some off time as well with, the entire school on break.
Yeah, so spring break, I mean, normally everybody around campus is like, yay, spring break is here, but that's our grind time. I mean, baseball and softball, lacrosse, all the spring sports are going. Like you said, we have 8 games that week, so we have no downtime. We're going to take breaks when we can. Luckily, I loaded us up because they don't have class that week. They still need to study, and we still are going to have team study halls to keep on top of everything. But we'll have some team bonding stuff coming up. As far as the games go, we play, an NAIA, we play another Division III. We play 2 NAIs, a Division III and a Division II. So that's really going to prep us. That this is the last week before conference. Then we hit the ground running. So this 8-game stretch is really going to help us going into Huntington and LaGrange the very next weekend.
If we can get inside the diamond just a little bit, what are the things, from a coaching standpoint and from a team standpoint, you're looking to work on between now and the start of conference play?
We definitely need to work on stamina a little bit as far as getting through these 8 games and seeing how we come out. Our game 2, because we are so energetic, it takes a lot out of everybody. I mean, emotionally, it's a lot. Softball is not a quiet sport. Nobody is quiet. Doesn't matter what your role is on the team. You are exerting so much energy, and that's, at the end of the day, they're just emotionally drained. So we definitely are going to work on kind of prolonging that process and not kind of expanding it all in the first inning, not just giving all of ourselves to the first inning, because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint in our game. We're out there for 6 hours sometimes. And so we definitely have to have high energy. And like you said, like NATO Nation helps with that when we're at home. When we're at away games, we have to pull more from inside of us. And so it takes a little bit more, that little last oomph to get you over that hump. So we're really going to work on that this week and just kind of making sure that we're spreading ourselves out equally so that we can get 2 solid, good wins in. But really that second game right now is what we're focused on as far as like getting through. Obviously you want to focus on what's in front of you in our game, but right now that's our hurdle. So that's what we're working through.
Well, Coach, the softball team's already brought a lot of joy in this young season for NATO Nation. We can't wait to see what's to come next. But stick with us just a few more moments. We're going to bring in a couple of your student athletes here into the program. As joining the show now, Abby Delp and Jocelyn Falkers. Coach, help NATO Nation get to know these two a little better.
Yeah, so Abby is a freshman for us, a freshman pitcher, and pitcher of the week in her first outing. You can't ask for anything better. She's definitely a jokester. She reminds me of like a younger Emily White sometimes. And she's always making me laugh. She's always kind of just running around and talking to everybody. So she has a lot of good energy for us. Jocelyn, on the complete other end, is a senior for us. And so she's very, very consistent. I mean, you're not going to see a game at all this year without her in center field. So she's really, really consistent for us. Her bat came like completely alive at USC Sumter with a huge home run for us. So that was amazing. And I'm happy for her. And she's definitely, Joss is the kind of player that always asks questions. She wants to get better. She is always, in the office talking to me and is like, how can we get through this? I want to get through this and I want to be better and can you help me? And that's what you want. And it helps the younger ones like Abby kind of see that and grow. So they're both 2 special ones.
Very good. Well, looking forward to this interview with Abby and Jocelyn. Thanks, Coach, for taking some time this evening. And we can't wait to see you back out there at the BC softball field for this action come spring break. Thanks for joining the show, Coach.
Thank you so much.
All right, there she goes, Coach Bryce Shearin. And joined now as Coach helped us introduce these two, freshman pitcher Abby Delp from Waxhaw, North Carolina. She's in that upper right corner. And then in the bottom center position, the senior outfielder Jocelyn Falkers from Milledgeville, Illinois. Ladies, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Abby, we're going to start with you. On your Tornado Talk debut, you were named USA South Conference Rookie Pitcher of the Week coming off your collegiate debut. Just a great performance, a complete game versus Carolina University as the Tornadoes were able to win that one 3-1. What a great way to start your college career. Can you reflect back on, how you felt that day, and then also, just how meaningful it was for you to get that win on day one?
Well, we were at practice, and Coach Bree called me over, and I was like, oh, this can't be good. But she announced to the whole team at that time, and everybody was gathered around me. I felt like the team really helped, feeling that, and how, I don't know, it's an amazing feeling. And having the team there for that, being there, having everybody supporting me is a really nice feeling. But yeah, coming from my high school where awards weren't really given out, especially to, freshmen, it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, and Jocelyn, I know you play out there in the outfield, but between Abby and Caitlin Farmer and some of the other pitchers, they're getting it done in the circle, correct?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it makes your job as from the defensive end that much easier when they're playing that well. As far as keeping those bats in check, correct? Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Jocelyn, I'd love for you to kind of catch us up on how you feel like the season's been going so far. You're a veteran on this, softball program now. A senior season has arrived. Can you kind of tell us about this year's team and how you think you guys are doing?
I think we're doing great. I mean, there's definitely stuff that we need to work on, just like every team. But I feel like we're so closely knit. We're all friends. The games are going great. We're so loud. I think it's going to be a great season from when we started till when we end.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Jocelyn, we talked to your coach a little bit about it. Can you reflect back on that walk-off win by Savannah Jones, who came up with that single? Bring us back to that moment in time and just how exciting that was, for the Tornadoes.
We were so excited. She was saving that hit for the last possible moment, and I'm so proud of her. It was such a great moment.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you had a big game in that one as well, a multi-hit performance. All right, Abby, well, you've been part of this program for a little while now. You've gotten your feet settled here at Brevard College. How has the overall experience been for you? You enjoying being a Brevard College student athlete and a member of this softball team? And tell us why.
I love being a part of this team. The upperclassmen make it really easy to feel comfortable on the field and off the field. They help a lot with supporting us, and especially the freshmen and whoever's new. They do a really good job in making sure that we're all good, especially with schoolwork. Autumn and Cassie, they do a really good job at making sure everybody's in check with that. And it's a really good feeling to be a part of this team, especially with everybody being so supportive, and especially those who are in the dugout and, don't really get time on the field sometimes. It's never quiet in the dugout with them in there, especially with Sarah and Val and Farmer, especially when she's not on the field. She is in the dugout making sure that she's heard.
I see you nodding your head, Jocelyn. Tell us just about that, kind of, bring us inside that dugout a little bit. How does that all kind of get started when you guys get the chants going and the cheers going? Is there sort of a ringleader to the whole scene there?
I feel like Farmer is the one that she wants to start us. She wants to bring the energy up as high as she can. Cassie is also a huge person when she is out of basketball and she's on that softball field with us. Oh goodness, it's screaming. It's awesome. It brings everybody up and laughing. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's just such a big part of the game of softball. Abby, tell us a little more, how does that actually help you as a player, to hear that kind of support?
Me and Farmer were actually talking about this with Coach Bree the other day. We were telling her how if we can hear the dugout from the mound, it makes us, want to do like 10 times better. Obviously, we already want to do better for our team, but, hearing them cheer us on and hearing them, the support that they have for us, it really keeps us going, especially in the tough times where, you throw a ball in the dirt, but they're still screaming like, "You're so good," is what I hear from the dugout all the time, and it makes me smile, even when I feel like I'm not doing the best.
Jocelyn, your senior season, and we talked to Coach how it's kind of coming into crunch time here. Some key games during spring break, and then it gets real serious once conference play starts. Can you tell us about your goals and the team's goals from here on out?
I feel like that we need to communicate better as a team, but the goal is we need to get through this spring break, through all of these games, through that second game especially. We need to we need to get there. It's such a long week. We gotta get there. Gotta wait till it's over.
Yeah, one game at a time.
Yes.
No doubt about it. Jocelyn, senior season as well, and so that means graduation's around the corner. Can you tell us a little bit about your studies and what degree you're heading towards?
My degree is early childhood education. I'm looking to teach preschool. I can't wait.
Yeah, very good. Appreciate that, career that you're headed towards. And Abby, I know it's your freshman year, but have you started to get things figured out yourself on the academic side? Have you chosen a major?
Right now I'm undecided. I was criminal justice, but I think I'm switching to English as of now. I love math and I really enjoy it, but English is, where my heart is. My mom has been an English teacher for 30 years now. Like I grew up with books, I grew up with writing, and I used to hate English in high school, but college has really taught me, how to be a good writer and how fun it can really be sometimes.
Very good. Appreciate that as well. Best of luck on your studies as well, Abby. Well, Abby, before we let you and Jocelyn go, do want to give you each the opportunity for any shout outs or thank yous, anybody who may have helped you along the way who you'd like to recognize. Abby, you're up first.
Well, I'd like to thank my parents for getting me to where I am, putting me through travel ball and everything like that, helping me through high school. My sister for supporting me through all the tournaments where she had to sit in the heat for a whole day. And especially my travel ball coaches, Coach Jeff and Coach Brad. I wouldn't be playing college ball if it weren't for them getting me in the recruiting business. And Coach Bree for giving me the opportunity and putting me in position to be successful on the field.
Very good. Well said. Jocelyn Falker, same opportunity for you. Shout outs?
Yes, I would like to shout out to my mother, Cheryl Rash. She is amazing. She got me through everything, through high school, got me to college. I would like to thank Coach Bree for giving me this, or she didn't really, well, yeah, she did. Thank you, Coach Bree. And my coaches in high school and travel ball, Coach Darren and Coach Grenoble.
Very good. Well, Abby Delp and Jocelyn Falkers, two student athletes, outstanding student athletes on the Brevard College softball team. NATO Nation, come on out to BC softball field. Monday, March the 7th is your next opportunity. That's a noon start doubleheader versus Pikeville. And then games throughout spring break, Greensboro at Reinhardt, and then back at home versus Converse, and then conference play. These ladies put on a great product out there at the BC softball field. Hope you can come out and enjoy it. And great job, Abby and Jocelyn, on tonight's appearance on Tornado Talk. We'll see you at the softball field.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
All right, there they go. So from softball, we're going to quickly transition now to the baseball diamond, where a lot has been happening with the Tornadoes since we checked in with you last. As we're joined now by assistant coach Rob Julian. Coach Julian, thanks for joining the show.
Always a pleasure, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, I'm going to actually go back a couple weeks because it's been a little while since we've had you on, and do want to reflect back on the series win over Washington in Lee a couple weeks ago. Third straight series win to open the year, and then a big performance included in that series win by Matthew Scavato, who went on to win a USA South Pitcher of the Week award. But team effort all the way around. We're able to get that series win. Can you reflect back on that success?
Yeah, that was fun. Obviously, being at home, we love playing here and, having the fans out, and, the energy is always real high. But being able to get out to some hot starts in both of those games, game one, we swung it well early, and then, some things kind of fell apart, and we were able to pull one out at the end. And then, game two, Scavs just did what he does. We talked about it before. I'm sure we're going to talk about, that Greensboro game he threw in yesterday or a couple of days ago, which, was a little bit of an anomaly for him. But, more times than not, he's going to go out there and, give us a chance to win a ball game. We're really confident whenever he's on the mound. And then, game three, it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. So overall, as a whole, that was a really good weekend for us. We're excited to get back and get rolling again.
And then you mentioned it a bit there, a trip to High Point, North Carolina, Truist Point Park, and 3-game series versus Greensboro. Not the way you wanted it to go on Saturday, losing both games of the doubleheader, but then a big answer, a big, response to that, 20-2, the win on Sunday over Greensboro. Can you kind of give us the writ large total picture from this past weekend?
Yeah. Obviously Saturday, like you said, didn't go, the way we wanted it to go. Game one, I thought Cam Cook and Cesar Rodriguez both pitched really, really well. It was 4-3 the final, and, we get a couple timely hits here and there. We don't have, a couple base running errors. I think that's a whole different game. And we might have a chance to even run away with that one. And then, game two, it just happens that way sometimes. I told the guys after the game that, having success and, being winners isn't always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you're going to go out and you're going to get your butt kicked a little bit. And that's kind of what happened. But I thought, they bounced back really well on Sunday, obviously. The big thing in that game, I think, that gets overlooked is, it was 20-2. The final was 20-2, but, we scored 16 runs in the 8th and the 9th inning. So, for the first 7 innings of that game, we're in a ball game, and, Bryce Bowers will be on in a little bit. But, he really kept us in that game. And really proud of him and really proud of the team for, answering on Sunday. That was a win that, we really, really needed after, losing the 2 on Saturday. In a weird way, sometimes you need those losses to happen in order to grow a little bit. And I think, we came out on Sunday and showed who we are and, show the type of team that we can be. And, that's exciting to see.
Yeah, a career-long 8 innings from Bryce Bowers. He gets the win, allowed just 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts in the process. Coach, you're the pitching coach as well. We've talked about Bowers and Scavato, but can you talk about your staff as a whole and where they're at this point of the season?
Yeah, that's kind of a complicated question a little bit, because I think, the numbers that our guys have kind of don't really show who they are. We obviously have some guys that are doing really, really well. And I mentioned it, Scavato, Bowers, Nate Sanders is another one. Cam Cook, Cesar Rodriguez are all guys that, have really started off hot for us. But, you have some other guys, you have some younger guys that have kind of seen some growing pains a little bit, and, they kind of struggled early on, and now they're getting it back together and figuring it out a little bit. Petty and Thompson, they both threw this weekend. They're guys that we're really excited about. Cale Euler is, he's playing first base for us and, hitting really well, but he's another arm that, you're going to end up seeing probably a lot of here in the near future. And then, Noah Webb is another freshman lefty that kind of can come in and sling it for us a little bit. Overall, it's a good group. They're a weird group. They kind of do some different things out there in the bullpen. If you've been to a game here recently, they're kind of their own bunch. But they're fun to be around, and they're going to do good things for us. We've always said that, we're going to try to be, a pitching and defense type of team. The bats have kind of come alive early in the year for us, and I hope that continues. If we can score, 9-10 runs a game, it makes our job as a pitching staff a whole lot easier. But they're a good group, and they're going to continue to get better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Coach, you mentioned several young players, players who are making their collegiate debut in some cases, and certainly making an early impact. And between yourself, head coach Mike Victory, the rest of the coaching staff, Steve Huckey and Jacob Dennis, not only a great job recruiting these players, but also developing them once they get here. Can you reflect a little bit on, just how far these young players have come in a short amount of time?
Yeah, I think it comes back down to, early on in that recruiting process, whenever we're talking to guys and, we're laying out, what it's going to be like, the work you're going to have to put in, and them, buying into it and agreeing that, that's something that they want to do. When they come to visit campus, we tell them, you're going to have to do this, and this. And if you don't want to do it, then you can go somewhere else. They chose here and they chose that work. And that's exciting, because they want to go be great, and they buy into, our vision and, where we see this program going and, the special things that we're going to accomplish. And kind of just, it starts whenever they get here. We have a good group of older guys that, run, those early practices whenever we can't be out on the field with them, both in the fall and in the springtime. But them just getting out and, putting the work in, it's kind of the best way to describe it. There's not really a secret, formula on how to do it. They just come out, they bust their butts in the weight room, bust their butts on the field, make sure that they get their classroom, stuff situated. So, we don't got to worry about that. And, they just come and work hard every single day, and they continue to get better. And, I'm not shocked by any means as to, them having the success that they're having.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And, interesting juncture of the season where we're at right now as February turns to March. You're 7-4 through the first 11 games. And now we head in towards spring break, which begins this weekend, but not a spring break, by any means for the baseball team. 3-game series versus Averett, a trip to Lexington, South Carolina, Lexington County Stadium to take on Case Western on the 10th, and then a 3-game series at Pfeiffer. All that before conference play starts in earnest. Can you talk about how critical, these next couple weeks are before that conference play?
Yeah, this is the time that, we're really going to start ramping it up and, getting it right for, when conference play starts. You mentioned, the 2 weekend series and then the midweek. We got a couple developmental games in there as well, where some guys are going to, who haven't got a ton of action early on are going to get, their opportunity to play. And, we're going to play a lot of baseball. So whenever we, start that conference, play, we know, the right guys that we want to put in the lineup and who we're going to give the ball to and, everything like that. So this is kind of, like you mentioned, it's a really critical time for us where, we got to make sure that, we're trending upwards instead of, the other direction. Because, we want to hit our stride right at the right time whenever that conference play starts and, kind of roll through that a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I mentioned the trip to Lexington County Stadium. You're at a, significant venue this past weekend. You started the season at the USA Baseball Training Complex. So those are cool opportunities, for a program like Brevard College to get to visit, these type of stadiums. Correct, Coach?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity. Obviously, USA Baseball Complex is unbelievable. And, Truist Point was unbelievable. We're going to go down and play there, which is going to be great as well. It's funny though, like you go to all these places and then you come back and you're like, oh man, Gilcone Field, it's home. It's there's all these nice places around, and you go there and everything, and you come back and you're like, well, this is more me. This is where we want to be and this is where we want to play. But yeah, those are awesome opportunities to go out there and see those places and play at those places. And it's great for the guys to, be able to play on those type of stadiums.
Well, that was an expert level segue right there, because opportunity for NATO Nation to see the Tornadoes versus Averett this weekend at Gilcone Field. And what an atmosphere it is, especially once the weather starts to warm up a bit and you can bring your, family out and, your dog or whatever it might be and just enjoy, nature along with obviously the action on the diamond. Coach, it is a unique setting for college baseball.
Oh yeah. I mean, you get the mountains in the background. It's, I send pictures to my friends like back home and they're like, wow, like it's unlike, things that a lot of people haven't seen before, especially, being from up north, a lot of fields up north, like the grass is brown right now. So, even just from that aspect, it's an awesome spot to play. We love it. We love the atmosphere. Like you mentioned, it's going to be, I think in the 70s this weekend. So, we're excited to, get some nice weather finally and, get out there and get back to work.
Fantastic. Well, assistant coach Rob Julian joining the program, talking a bunch of Brevard College baseball this evening, and team off to a great start, 7-4 through this young season. Well, coach, we're going to be out there at Gil Cone Field beginning Saturday. That's a noon start for the doubleheader, game 3 on Sunday versus Avery. But before we let you go, do you want to bring in a couple of your student athletes, if you can help us introduce these two to NATO Nation? As joining the program now, we've got Zachary Allison, the junior outfielder from Hendersonville, North Carolina, and also Bryce Bowers, the senior right-handed pitcher from Madisonville, Tennessee. Coach, help us introduce these two gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, Zally's kind of the engine that makes us go. He's bats leadoff for us and puts together good at bats, whether he's getting hits or, getting on base in any way. He got hit like 8 times this weekend. So, he does what he got to do. He can do some different things and make some things happen for us. And he's fun to watch. I think anybody that knows us and have followed us for the last couple of years know that, as he goes, we go. And, I'm going to be excited when he continues to, do big things this year for us. We talked about Chap a little bit already. He was kind of in a weird spot this year. We didn't really know what he was going to do. We didn't know if he was going to start or relieve. And, we had some conversations and he probably wasn't too happy about some of those conversations. But, he stepped up big whenever, we had some guys go down. And he kind of has solidified himself as one of those guys that we can, give the ball to start games and give us a chance. I told him a couple of weeks back that, when he steps between those lines, he thinks he's the baddest man on the planet. And that's why he's as successful as he is. That confidence is one of those reasons. Zally's the same way. Zally's an incredibly confident hitter. And that's why, these two guys are going to continue to have success because, whenever you're in a sport like this, that's as important as it comes. If you think you're the man, you're going to go out and play like the man. And these two guys are great examples as to why, we're off to the start that we're off to.
Well, appreciate that, Coach, and can't wait to see you this weekend in the Averett series at Gil Cone Field. Begins on Saturday. Thanks for joining the show, Coach. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Phil. Thanks for having me.
All right. There he goes, assistant coach Rob Julian. And as Coach Julian helped us introduce these two, Bryce Bowers in the upper right corner, the senior right-hander from Madisonville, Tennessee. Bryce, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
And also Zach Allison, the junior outfielder from just down the road, Hendersonville, North Carolina, West Hendersonville High School. Zach, thanks for joining the program.
Appreciate you for having me.
All right, Bryce, let's start with you. That was a big performance yesterday. Obviously, like Coach said, you see the number 20. You don't think a tight ball game necessarily, but it was a tight ball game until very late there. And you got it done on the mound, a career high 8 innings, just 2 earned runs allowed, strike out 5, and get the W to improve to 2-0. Can you talk about your performance as well as the team's yesterday?
Well, I went into that game. I had Christian Zell catching, and I trust his pitch calls. I trust him behind the plate. I was just throwing it to his mitt, and defense behind me was catching everything. It all worked out.
Yeah, no doubt. And Zach, I know you're out there in the outfield watching a guy like Bryce do his work. Can you talk about his performance yesterday?
I actually was the DH yesterday, so I didn't get to watch it from the outfield aspect, but because I was a little banged up on the knee side. But watching it from the dugout, he threw pretty well. Probably the best I've ever seen him throw. So hats off to you, Chap.
Yeah, no doubt. And And Bryce, as far as the offense coming alive there, it's got to put you at ease, knowing that, hey, this win, it's definitely going to happen. Can you talk about that dynamic, what it feels like as a pitcher to, see the bats come alive for you and support your cause?
Oh, yeah. Once we get those leads and we're just out there hitting it and just keep running around, scoring on them. Once we get that lead pitchers, it's easier on our job. We just got to go out there and throw strikes.
Well, and Zach Allison's been a huge part of that all season long. You're currently hitting .486, 20 runs scored, 3 triples. Zach, can you talk about, what's worked this far this season for you and the rest of the hitters?
I think having a lot of confidence at the plate is really helping a lot of hitters, me including myself, and not being too timid to take advantage of those fastballs and those fastball counts. And I think we're doing pretty well with that.
And back to yesterday's performance, Zach, what exactly, happened in those 8th and 9th innings, that you guys came so alive, just absolutely exploding there late.
I feel like we were a little timid going into the game, but I feel like we really, really opened it up and got relaxed and actually started playing our game towards the end.
No doubt. And you just look through the statistics from that one. Guys like Jason Jucker, a 4-hit game. Blake Burchett, 4 hits as well. Logan Clark, 3 for 4 on down the line. And, Zach, 2 for 3, 4 runs scored. Can you talk about your presence on the base pass, Zach, and as far as, being able to be a run scorer like that?
So I'm a big on base guy. You'll see me whether if it's a hit, a walk, hit by pitch, I'm going to make it to the base path any way I can. And being on the base path is trying to steal bags. I try to steal bags as many times as I can.
Yeah, no doubt, and certainly paying dividends. And Bryce, would love to hear your kind of take on the rest of the pitching staff as well. We talked to your coach, a lot of young players starting to develop nicely, and you guys as a unit really doing a nice job. Can you talk about you guys as a group, what's worked so far, and also, what it's like to be a member of this pitching staff?
Oh, yeah, this is the best pitching staff to be a part of, no doubt. We have I think, in my opinion, it's the best bullpen. We got a lot of young guys, like you said, yes, and it's a lot of young talent that we're starting to be able to trust more and put out in situations that we know that they can go in and succeed and get it done for us.
Bryce out of Madisonville, Tennessee. Tell us a little bit about your baseball journey and what ultimately brought you here to Brevard College.
Oh, well, I've just been playing baseball my whole life since I was 5, and then had nowhere to go. Brevard College came to me. Now it's home.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here, no doubt about it. And Zach Allison from Hendersonville, North Carolina. When did you start playing baseball? And, ultimately, when did it get real serious that you wanted to play in college as well?
So, Phil, I've been playing baseball ever since I was little. I've always had a bat in my hand and a baseball. And I knew I wanted to play college baseball probably when I was in high school. My freshman year in high school, I wanted to go play college baseball somewhere. And I wanted to stay close to home, and this was close to home for me.
And tell us a little more about that kind of dynamic, the fact that you're from just down the road in Hendersonville. It's got to be great to, be that close to home, but at the same time, enjoy the college experience. Can you talk about being sort of a local player like that and what that's like?
Yeah, so it's nice every home game. I actually a lot of my friends and family come out and they're able to watch me play the game that I grew up loving and still love. Being local, it's nice. I don't have a long trip home. I can make the drive in like 20 minutes, but that's nice that my family can come and watch me as much as they want. And I think they value that too, and I value that.
All right, back to business because we've got a 3-game series versus Averett that starts up on Saturday. And, that's part of a critical stretch where you guys, will want to hit your stride heading into conference play. Bryce, this juncture of the season, where you guys are at right now and where you're heading. Can you talk about the goals of the team, and what you guys want to accomplish one game at a time?
Yeah, our goals, we're trying to win every game, one game at a time, like you said. but it's also, get better one day at a time too, so we can get to that goal to win those games.
And Zach, what do you think is the key from this point forward for you guys, enjoying sort of the success that you guys, know you're capable of?
I think it's getting better every practice that we do. So going in like tomorrow, today is our off day. So going in tomorrow, getting ready for Averett. It starts tomorrow. Getting that work and just going out and having fun and playing some baseball.
Coach mentioned also getting it done in the classroom, which the team as a whole certainly does as well. Zach, tell us a little bit about your studies. What are you majoring in and what are you focused on?
So I'm a criminal justice major with a minor in business. I want to take that degree and be a U.S. Marshal one day out of college.
Very good. Appreciate that answer. And Bryce, senior, so you're heading towards the graduation stage here. Can you tell us a little bit about your studies and what your degree is going to be in?
Well, I'm a double major, so I'm actually going to be here another year. And I'm a health science major and business major, and I plan to use that to go into medical sales once I get out.
Very good. No doubt about it. Well, these two getting it done both in the classroom and then also on the field. And NATO Nation, you'll have an opportunity to see them beginning this Saturday versus Averett at Gilcone Field. Bryce, Coach talked about a little bit. It matters when NATO Nation shows up and cheers you guys on there at Gilcone Field. Can you tell us from a player perspective how important that is to hear that crowd roar?
Oh yeah, we love it when the student body gets out there and just supports us and yelling for us. It fuels us, gives us the energy that we need to keep going.
No place like home, correct, Zach?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So turn on out this weekend versus Averett beginning on Saturday. Well, before I let you two gentlemen go, do want to give you each the opportunity for any shout outs or thank yous. Anybody who may have helped you along the way. Bryce, who you got?
Shout out my parents, support me the whole way, give me everything I need to succeed and being able to come to every game that they can. Also going to shout out the bullpen bandits. We're going to keep it going all year, coming in, saving some games.
Zach, shout outs or thank yous?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the Alpha Squad, and then I would also my pregame ritual. It's no doubt the Lord's chicken.
Can you tell us a little more about that?
Chick-fil-A. So like before the games, I like to go to Chick-fil-A, like the night before the game.
Okay. Very, very good. Well, might be a potential sponsorship opportunity. Who knows? But appreciate that, Bryce and Zach Allison. You guys are doing a great job so far. You brought us a lot of joy out there at Gilcone Field thus far. We can't wait to see you in action again this weekend and beyond. Thanks, fellas, for all the great work on the field and in the classroom. And thanks for this appearance on Tornado Talk.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, there they go, Bryce and Zach from the baseball team. And want to thank you, NATO Nation, for tuning in to another edition of Tornado Talk. A lot of opportunities to see the Tornado student athletes in action. Baseball team, as we mentioned, will be in action beginning Saturday at Gilcone Field with a doubleheader versus Averett that starts at noon. On Sunday, baseball will have game 3 of that series at 1 o'clock. Women's lacrosse will be at noon on Sunday, March the 6th at Islamel Family Field. And then the softball team will get going on Monday, March the 7th with a doubleheader that begins at noon at the BC softball field. Men's lacrosse will be in action as well over the spring break. Same with men's and women's tennis. Check out bctornadoes.com for all those schedules and be sure to follow us on social media as well. Want to thank all those behind the scenes as well. Abby Pardee and Joseph Marvin for handling the production end of this edition of Tornado Talk. And thank you, NATO Nation, for tuning in to another edition. Go Tornadoes!